I like all my stuff to be on wheels because I'm always moving stuff around because I never have enough room. So that's that so far. So I'm finally getting started on this here plasma table. I've just been like crazy busy with life lately, and like most of us are, and I just haven't got to this. I really want to get this done because it's should be super cool once it's all said and done. And as much as I do like hand fabricating parts, it will definitely speed up the process of building stuff, that's for darn sure. So, anyone who's interested in buying this plasma table plans from JD's, they made it pretty simple. Like most of the parts, nothing's overly complicated in the building of the table part, and they made all these one-to-one drawings, so it's super easy to follow. So, if you have any type of fabricating skills, you should have no problem duplicating this. Okay, so I bolted all my parts together, and this is the basic frame for the JD Garage plasma table. Well, I went a little bit longer legs than what they did. I added this on the bottom here just because I was afraid with the longer legs it might get a little unstable. And then I'm going to put this on wheels yet. And I figure this is also handy. I can put something on there and use this as a shelf. The plasma cutter and stuff can be mounted right on here because there's just never enough room for everything. So got to make space where you can. So when you're trying to make multiple parts, it doesn't have to be that symmetrical. I'm just being fussy. So I got the first one shaped kind of the way I want tacked all 4 of these together. I used, oh, I messed up there. Darn it. I meant to use the flat edge on all 4 of them, but I see I put the flat edge on this one there. Like the edge that I didn't cut, but it's close enough for the work. So now I'll just grind them all to match the front one. Okay, so this is the basic JD Garage plasma table frame all bolted together. I ended up getting the same stainless steel pan that they used on their machine because, well, it seems like it makes sense. It works good with their machine. Like I said, basically the only thing I really did different than them is I made my legs a little longer. I added this, these bottom rails just because I was afraid it might be a little bit unstable with the longer legs. And I put it on wheels because I like things on wheels because everything's always getting moved around because there's just not enough space. So let's get on to the gantry next. So these are the 3D printed parts for the bearing blocks for the gantry. I assembled this one off camera. I'll do this one on camera so you can see how it goes together. It's again, it's not rocket science. There is a little 3D printed washers that go in there. They're a little tough to get in there, but it's doable. So one of the things in the plans, it calls for some 5/16 pins. I'm sure I could find them here somewhere in Canada, but sometimes it's harder to find certain things up here in Canada than it is in the States. So I'm basically just using 5/16 bolts and I'm cutting the threads and the heads off and basically making my own pins out of it. So after cutting these bolts, I just quickly, smoothed out the edges of them. They're not perfect. They don't have to be perfect. They basically, once they're assembled in there, you don't really see them. I mean, the main part is where the bearing's going to ride on there. So cosmetically, it does not really matter. So yes, on these bearing blocks, basically there's 2 of these. They're adjustable. These 2 are adjustable. These 2 are just fixed. Like I said, it's not anything overly complicated. It's just the hardest part is these little tiny 3D cut, 3D printed washers. Whoops, already struggling. They're a little bit difficult to deal with because they're so tiny and to get them in there. But once she's all set up, it works pretty good. So on the fixed section of these bearing blocks, there's one set screw that basically, once you have it in there, you just bottom that set screw against the modified bolt, pin, whatever you want to call it, just to hold it in place. Again, it's not like it's going to take a whole lot to hold it there once it's in there. The set screws I'm using at the moment aren't the right size compared to what was recommended in the instructions. Again, sometimes it's hard to source things out where I live. I'm using these for now. I have some longer ones on order, so hopefully these will be fine until the longer ones get here. I will admit this is the first time I've used 3D printed parts. There's a little bit of debris inside some of these holes, which I'm going to assume is pretty normal with 3D printed parts. Like I say, this is all new to me. for right now, I'm just kind of like these. Like I said, these ones are adjustable. I'm basically just bottoming them out to hold it in place for right now. I mean, when I go to assemble it, I'm gonna have to adjust it to make it work. And I'm just very gently bottoming it out because, like I say, these set screws should be longer, and I don't want to pull the threads out of here. But I just don't want this to fall apart because, like I said, it is a bit of a challenge getting those little tiny washers, spacers, whatever you want to call, in there. Yeah, like I say, so I'm just snugging it up because I don't want this to fall back apart. And I'm hoping when I actually do the final assembly on this, I have the longer set screws, so there's less chance of me pulling the threads out of here because I don't want that. So I'm just very gently seating those for now, just to hold it in place. So, got the gantry tube set up, drilled, and the top plate, and the angle, or the triangle bracket welded in there. The one thing that I was a little bit confused of, it's pretty simple, but this is me in reading. Basically, you want these holes to be in the center of the gantry tube, which I must have read that 10 times before I figured it out. So here we got the gantry assembled there, and the arm put on, the X-axis arm here assembled to the gantry. I'm gonna get these bearing blocks adjusted. I have this extra piece of square tube I'm gonna get adjusted to that, and then we'll get her assembled on here and see how she works. So as per the instructions, they say to set these up, adjust them before you assemble it onto the gantry. So I'm going to do as they say and get this guy set up on here. Okay, so this is where I'm at right now. Got the Y-axis here with the gantry set up. Well, I wanted to move on to my X-axis. The bearings, I thought I had the right bearings, just turns out I don't have the right bearings, so now they're on back order. I don't know how long it'll take. So I'm at a standstill with this project at this point in time until I get these bearings. I mean, there's other little things I can do to keep myself busy, but so far it's looking pretty good. I look at this here, the level on this compared to the level on that, and we're sitting pretty much like right bang on. Same with here, level across there to on here. Again, right bang on, so perfect. That's right where we want to be. Gantry moves back relatively freely. There's a little bit of friction there. I don't know how much they're supposed to do, but I think that's probably fine. I guess if I have to fool with the adjustment, then I might have to fool with the adjustment. But this is where we're leaving off for today, so I hope you enjoyed. Come on back to see the rest of this thing get built. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and it doesn't cost you anything. All right, man. Take it easy and have a good one.